So we are chatting with Tara Slone. She's going to be in town for hometown hockey this weekend. So welcome to Strathmore.
Thank you very much.
When you get to do hometown hockey, because this is into your sixth season now, what do you like about getting to be a part of this event?
Well, I mean, obviously, exploring the country and being welcomed the way that we are is a real privilege. But it's always about the people, I often get asked which one was the most special. And honestly, I can never identify that because we meet amazing people wherever we go. When we're tired, people lift us up. When we need to laugh, people make us laugh. So, people across Canada are very kind and authentic, and that's for sure the best part.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite sometimes. I can't imagine because there's a lot of great towns in our nation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring hometown hockey to each community, like from this event, what can people expect to have happen as it kind of like descends on their town?
Well, I think that's a good way to put it. I think it's hard to get the sense of the scope from broadcast. So unless you've seen it on the ground, you don't really know what kind of a footprint we take up. We have a massive convoy of trucks that rolls across the country and sets up an entire festival. So we have a stage, we have our mobile studio, we have a bunch of tents and interactive displays, we have a ball hockey rink, and just a whole ton going on throughout the course of the weekend. We have alumni signings, and I host what we call an intermission chat. This weekend it's with Matt Stajan and Mason Raymond. We have bands throughout the weekend, contests. So there's a whole bunch going on that leads up to our Sunday pregame broadcast and the hockey game. So we're, it's like part broadcast, part circus. That's how I describe it.
We've driven by and seen it all getting set up, and circus is a great way to describe that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at your career, because you've had a lot of different opportunities, you're a musician and a singer-songwriter as well as a broadcaster. So what brought you into the world of broadcasting, especially into like sports broadcasting?
It's funny. I guess I'll preface the whole thing by saying that I've always been a really big hockey fan. When I started to embark on a broadcasting career, and in particular when I was hosting breakfast television in Calgary, I was given opportunities to work with Sportsnet. It's the same parent company. So I started doing things like the occasional Hitman game, or I did a bunch of provincial curling championships. So I started to do a little bit of work for Sportsnet when I was at BT. And then when Rogers announced the NHL deal, and in particular when they announced Rogers Hometown Hockey, I actually wrote a letter to the president of the company saying this is exactly where I see myself. Because, I'm not an analyst, but I love the game. And in particular, I've always appreciated the culture of hockey, the teamwork and the camaraderie. So to have that and the opportunity to travel and tell stories, it seemed like a good fit for me. And luckily they thought so too.
That's amazing. See, you sat down and just penned a letter and just went, hey, here it goes. I'm not going to be subtle about this. This is my gig. It's wonderful.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to put yourself out there.
That's amazing. Well, it's paid off. We get to see you try so many different things in these communities, whether you're like go-kart racing or, all these random things. So do you ever get nervous, or is it just kind of like jump in and go for it and see what happens?
For sure. Some of the things that I get to try in the communities, put me in precarious positions. Actually, I was at the Flames game last night, and somebody stopped me and they said, I love that piece when you were in Thunder Bay and you jumped in the water. And I was like, you know what? That was just a little bit above and beyond, because I did a sauna with a bunch of Finnish guys, and I ended up jumping in Lake Superior. So things like that make me nervous for sure. And hopefully nothing this weekend. We're actually heading to Scott Schiffner's ranch, and he's, Canada's best known bull rider, but I don't think I'll be on any bulls.
No, maybe just watching from the sidelines if he brings those out would probably be the best bet.
Yeah, I think I'll stay far away.
We'd like you in one piece on Sunday.
Likewise.
So when you get to these communities and they say, here's the list of things you're doing, do you get to help pick those things, or is it just like, here's a list, go for it?
No, it's a very collaborative effort. We kind of have a rollout that happens over several months. We have a researcher who gets to work in the summer, sort of comes up with a list of things going on, relevant articles, hockey-related news, etc. And then we have producers who work, quite a bit of time out kind of getting stories organized. But Ron and I also do our own digging. And, the longer that this show's been on, the more that communities and people in the community reach out to us individually. For instance, I'm heading up in a helicopter, and that's because a great guy we know in the area, Matt Hassan, reached out and said, hey, you want to You want to see it from the air. So, we're lucky that people want us to tell the stories. And so, yeah, it's always just a bunch of things coming together.
Yeah, it seems like at the heart of this, it is the storytelling that is definitely what drives it. I think that's maybe why a lot of us just continue to tune in week to week, right? Because it is telling those fun stories and silly things like, you want to go in a helicopter in 6 hours? Okay.
No, like 1 hour.
Oh, it's like, not even before lunch you're going to be up in a helicopter.
Yeah, no, like in an hour.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe don't have lunch first.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
And then, so you get to work every week with Ron MacLean. So a lot of us, of course, have grown up watching him and just kind of having him in our homes every Saturday night. What is something that you enjoy about getting to work with him each week?
Well, obviously there's lots to appreciate. One of the ways in which we first connected was he has an incredible love of music. So, his love for hockey is really rivaled by his love of music. So that's obviously a common ground for us. But I would just say that, I felt like a real rookie when I came into this role. Obviously, not part of the hockey world. And he always made me feel completely at home. He never made me feel like anything but. And so he's an incredibly generous broadcaster. And I think that's just such a great characteristic. We get along really well, so we're very lucky.
You get to do this every week, right? And we're not going to ask you what your favorite place is because it's what is one thing that you love, like that just hits home about the hometown hockey?
Well, again, it always comes back to the people. I think the fact that people in communities and communities themselves trust us to tell their stories to the rest of the country is very humbling. It's just not lost on either Ron or myself what kind of an honor it really is.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys on Sunday. It's going to be lovely. Thank you so much for taking some time and have fun in your helicopter in an hour.
Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to being up in the air.
Well, welcome to Strathmore and have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks. You too.